simply elegant. Valentine's Day is quickly approaching, and what better way to show your love than by preparing a homemade ravioli dinner. For the homemade ravioli pasta, you will need some flour, you will need some sea salt, you'll need 2 eggs, some water. Start by adding 1.5 cups of flour. You can use all-purpose flour, which is what I'm using here. So just crack 1 egg into a bowl. I like to do that just in case I drop any of the shell, like I did there. I can easily get it out. These are in. Now add 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Then you're going to pulse it until it becomes a fine dough. Have a little bit of water reserved just in case the dough is not forming. Sometimes, depending on the humidity, the flour needs a little bit more liquid. When the dough has formed, we are going to knead it for about a minute. So, just take some flour, spread it onto your work surface or counter. I'll get a little bit more flour. And then just place your dough onto the counter. Just like that. And I can feel it is quite sticky, so I'm going to add a little bit more flour. There we go. And now you just want to knead it in order to activate the glutens. So just use your palm, move it forward, flip it around like that, move it forward, and keep repeating. So we've kneaded our dough for a minute. This needs to chill in the fridge for about 30 minutes. Now that the dough is chilling in the fridge for 30 minutes, let's start on the cheese filling. You will need 1 cup of ricotta cheese, the zest of 1 lemon, parsley, pepper and salt, mozzarella or Parmesan cheese. To start off, to my 1 cup of ricotta cheese, I am going to add 1/3 cup of Parmesan or mozzarella cheese, whichever you prefer or whichever you have on hand. So I'm gonna eyeball this. Oh, that's a little bit more than I wanted. But more cheese is always better, right? Okay, so I added some cheese to that. Now we are going to add a little bit of salt. I would say 1/4 teaspoon to start off. You can always add a little bit more. We want to add a few grinds of black pepper. We want to add about 1 teaspoon of parsley. I like using fresh parsley, but I didn't happen to have any on hand, so I'm just going to use some of my dried parsley. And then the zest of 1 lemon. The trick to zesting lemon is to zest it using a zester and stopping when it turns white. So you only want to zest the yellow like that. You don't want to go beyond the yellow. Let's mix everything together. The dough has chilled in the fridge for 30 minutes. It is time to roll it out now. Plastic. Sprinkle some flour onto your surface. And then we're going to use a rolling pin and roll it out. Now, if you have a pasta attachment that goes on your mixer, feel free to use that. I don't happen to have a pasta attachment that rolls out pasta, so I'm going to use the old traditional method and use a rolling pin. So what you want to do is flour your rolling pin and flour your dough so that nothing sticks. And then you want to roll it as thin as possible. You want to aim for at least 1/8 of an inch. If you can get thinner than that, then perfect. But you want your pasta to be nice and thin. So, our pasta dough is nice and thin. It is time to cut our shapes. I have some heart cutouts right here that I normally use for my sugar cookies. We're gonna use those to cut out some heart shapes. So just push it down And look at that. We have a nice little heart. We're gonna set these aside and continue to cut out some hearts. Teaspoon of your cheese filling. Place it into the center of your heart. And take another part, place it on top. Then you are going to pinch the edges together, just like that, until it becomes one. True romance. Just like that. So, if you find that when you are making your heart-shaped ravioli and you are placing your other piece and it's not sticking, add a little bit of water around the edges and that'll for sure help it stick. For me, it usually does stick together without adding any water, but sometimes depending on the humidity, it won't. And whether or not the ravioli has been sitting out for a long time, that'll cause for it to dry up and then it won't stick to the other ravioli. So just add water around the edges of both pieces. Pinch the edges together, just like that. And then they will for sure stick. Now I'm going to pop these in the fridge for 30 minutes to set and chill. Heart-shaped ravioli have chilled in the fridge for 30 minutes, so now it is time to build our breading station. In the first spot, we are going to put some all-purpose flour, and then we are going to season with a little bit of sea salt and a little bit of pepper. You can definitely add a little bit of cayenne for spiciness or paprika for smokiness as well. Compartment or bowl, you're going to crack 2 eggs. 1 and 2. Using a fork, poke the yolks and whisk it around. Last but not least, add some Italian breadcrumbs into your third and final bowl. Those smell so good. I used to eat these as a little kid by the spoonful. Funny story of the day. Okay, so now we are going to take one of our ravioli, dip it into the flour, make sure it gets evenly coated all around, shake off any excess, place it into the egg, and then once you shake off any excess, into the breadcrumbs. Pat it down, and voila! Our heart-shaped ravioli is ready to go in the oil. Speaking of which, heat up your oil on medium-high heat, and then we'll let that go for about 6 minutes. So in the meantime, I'm going to whip up the rest of these heart ravioli. Hearts are finished, and now it is time to fry them in the oil. You do not want to overcrowd the pan. So maybe just place like 5 or 6 at a time. You don't want to put all like 18 of them. I could probably fit 6 of them without decreasing the oil temperature too much. I heated my oil for about 6 minutes on medium heat. And this is going to cook for about 3 minutes on each side. Raviolis are looking golden brown, so it is time to take them out of the oil. So, take your ravioli and place it onto a plate that is lined with a paper towel. Just like that. And look at these little cute heart shapes. These have cooked for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. But if you notice they get golden brown a little bit sooner, you can definitely take them out as you don't want these to burn. And then, once the oil is nice and hot, you can garnish it with a little bit of parsley. Our raviolis are finally complete. Look at these heart-shaped raviolis. Look at how nice and golden brown they are. You see the parsley. These are excellent to pair with any kind of sauce that you like, Alfredo or tomato. And I want to try a bite. Remember, we put a cheese filling inside of these homemade raviolis. Dip. Very crispy. The cheese filling is excellent. I definitely give this recipe, you should definitely give this recipe a try. Super simple. It is a little bit time consuming, but your loved one will love you for it. Thank you for joining me once again on Simply Elegant. I hope that you guys have a great Valentine's Day and that you guys definitely give this recipe a try. If you do, remember to hashtag Simply Elegant so I can look at your awesome creations. Until next time, thank you for joining me.